Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. 5th attempt at the intro. Bored already of this. Not bored, but it's been a while. Tell me how you guys have been in the comments. I've been having a few ideas that I've been posting. I actually recorded one, but I felt the quality of the video was not good enough, so I did not post it. It was a bold predictions video. I thought that would have been done in one of my better videos. Done better, because the title. But I didn't think the actual content was good enough. But today, I am not here for that. I am here to predict the 2021-22 NHL standings. That's what I'm here for right now. And I am going to start with what I think to be the most predictable division. The division everybody says the same thing for. The Pacific. Now, on my 4th try, I said these teams in the wrong order at the very start. So this time, I'm going to get it right. Alright? In 8th, going from 8th to 1st. In 8th, I have the Sharks. In 7th, I have the Ducks. In 6th, I have the Kings. I just figured I should get the California teams out of the way. Now, let me explain why. You might think I have the Kings too low. But let me start with the Sharks. So, the Sharks are in 8th because they suck. They don't suck. But here's the problem, is that all the players and the GM, they're like, no, we want to be good. We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to pull through. And they're just like, they're not good enough, I don't think. They're not doing anything about it. In fact, they got rid of, anyway, they're not good. Even though their GM thinks they are and they don't want to rebuild, they're not good enough to make the playoffs. And then in 7th, I have the Ducks. They're on their way up. They bottomed out last season, I think. They got Zegras getting older. Drysdale will be better. Zegras will be better, like I said. I expect them to not be quite ready yet. Then the Kings, you might think I have them low. I could definitely see them surprising some people. I could actually see 4 teams in the Pacific making the playoffs, although I don't think so. But it could happen. I have 3 in this division. But the Kings, 6th. They added Denal. They added Denal. They added, it was Denal. They added Arvidsson. They added a couple of defensemen. They got Byfield. They got young players coming up. I just don't think this is the year. I think next year is the year where they really start competing for the playoff spot. They should compete this year. I just see them 6th in this division, which is a weak division. But in 5th, I got Calgary. In 4th, I've got Seattle. So, Calgary, a lot of people have them in 3rd. I think they're 5th. Everybody thought they would bounce back last year, but they did even worse, which is something most people did not expect. I definitely didn't. I really thought that they would stay the same. I don't think their core is good enough. Being honest here, I don't think it's good enough. I'm going to guess they're going to end up trading Goudreau by the end of the year for sure. That's just how I see it. And then Seattle. And then you got Seattle. Seattle's the new expansion team, just coming into the league. Seattle, their forward group isn't very strong, but their defense group I do like, as well as their goaltending. I could definitely see Calgary and the Kings finishing ahead of Seattle. But I haven't seen them play, so it's really hard to get a feel of how good they're going to be. I've went with 4th here, because their goaltending and defense, and their forward group's not horrible. It's just not good. They don't have that star player, but they also don't have horrible depth. But I put them in 4th. I feel like that's a good place for them, especially with the Grubauer and Dreger. I've had to pause this video so many times because dog's upstairs barking. Number 3, top 3. Number 3, I have Vegas. Number 3, I have Vancouver. I'll say the top 2 for after. So I have Vancouver. Vancouver usually in the 3, 4, 5 range for most people. I have in 3. They'll bounce back. They got Garland. They got Ekman-Larsson. Whether all Ekman-Larsson was worth it or not, I don't think he was. But he will improve the D-line, the defense on that team. I just don't think he was worth that much money for 6 more years, I think it is. I don't know what Jim Benning was doing. I like Garland, though. I like Garland. But I do expect Vancouver to bounce back, especially with Pettersson also being back in the lineup. And then at number 2 and 1, I got Edmonton and Vegas. Edmonton at number 2 because I look at their team. I am an Oiler fan, and man, I want to make a video eventually about how Ken Holland has screwed up this offseason so bad. I don't know how you do it that bad. It's actually shocking to me. So many bad moves. The blue line, I think, got worse than last year, unless Bouchard really steps up. And then you've got the forward group, which I think got better because you add Hyman to it. But then the goalies did nothing. You signed Mike Smith to 2 years, but for what? Why 2 years? He's already 40. He doesn't need 2 years. Just do a nice 1-year deal if you really want to. But I have them in 2, and number 1, Vegas. Obviously, I have a problem down the center, but in a weak division like this, Vegas is definitely the best team, and Vegas is debatably the best team in most other divisions. Maybe, let's see. Anyway, they're a top team in most divisions, but they're definitely the top team in the Pacific Division, for me. To the Atlantic Division. In the Atlantic Division, oh yeah, I should probably mention I will be picking my Stanley Cup champion at the end of this video and running through the playoff bracket that I've made. But Atlantic Division. Number 8 and 7, I feel like these are what most people have at 8 and 7. I have Arizona and the Predators. Arizona's at 8 because you can tell by the move they made. They got rid of Dvorak, they got rid of Larson, Garland. Just a lot of these top guys they had gone. They're obviously rebuilding, which this isn't a bad thing for them to be at 8th. They're going to want that high draft pick. I think they actually had a good offseason considering they got a lot of picks next year, a lot. And the 8th, I feel like that's an easy 8 for me. And the Predators 7, they're just forward group. I don't like their forward group at all. They're depending on a lot of older people, older as in 30. They're depending on a lot of people who have had down seasons to bounce back. And they need Cody Glass to break through as well. Number 6 and 5. Chicago 6. The Wild are 5. Chicago made a lot of moves this offseason. I don't think all the money they spent was worth it. Seth Jones, horrible contract. My God, that's like the worst contract. Maybe the worst contract signed this offseason. Not the worst trade. That goes to the Oilers. But the worst contract. I think they get the worst contract, right? They should. And then Chicago's just, man, I don't think that they're a playoff team. As much as Chicago thinks they are, I don't see it. I think they're close, but then again, it's just, I don't think they're a playoff team. Number 5, though, the Wild. I do have them making the playoffs, and this number could go lower, definitely, if Kaprizov is not signed when the season starts, because it's not looking good right now. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not looking good right now. He's not there for camp, still not signed. Kaprizov, that wild card, the wild card on the Wild. Thank you. God. Kaprizov really is the reason. I think they could do better than I have them as well. Number 4, I have the Dallas Stars. Dallas has to bounce back. Sagan's back. And injury should be better. Dallas had an off year. I just expect them to bounce back. Moving on to my top 3. And 3rd, I have the Blues. And 2nd, I have the Jets. And in 1st, I have Colorado. The Blues in 3rd, I like some of the moves they made, getting Brandon Saad and Buchnevich. I feel like that'll really help their top 6 out. Tarasenko still being there. He should bounce back, I think, unless the injuries have done its damage to his career for the future and now, and he will never reach the same level, which is possible. I think he's almost 30 now, so he's getting to that age, starting to get to that age. And in 2nd, the Jets. The Jets, I really like their forward depth. If Pierre-Luc Dubois bounces back, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Jets come in 1st. And I'm being honest, I would not be shocked to see the Jets come in 1st. And I like their defense now as well. I don't love it, but it's better than last year. And I think it's a solid defense, underrated. And I like their offense. And obviously, you got Connor Hellebuck. This is a team that I think could win the Stanley Cup. Ooh, is that a teaser to the playoff bracket? No, it's not. Or is it? And then at number 1, I have, obviously, I said Colorado. Come on, Colorado's Colorado. They're the best team in that division. To the Eastern Conference we go, though. Because in the Eastern Conference, we've got the Atlantic Division and the Metropolitan. But we're going to start with the Atlantic. I know I said Metropolitan wrong. Don't. It's okay, comments. I know I said it wrong. In the Atlantic, starting off at 8th, another obvious one. I feel like everybody knows who I got at 8th. The Buffalo Sabres. Oh, the absolute stud team. Jack Eichel's killing it over there. Not with his neck issues, but he's trying. And then you got all that forward depth, and Rasmus Dahlin's on fire right now. Yeah, let's go Buffalo. And then in 7th and 6th, I have Detroit and Ottawa. Detroit and Ottawa, both teams I could see surprising me. And actually in 5th, I have the Canadiens. I feel like I should mention that now, because I definitely could have the Canadiens below both of these teams. I really debated it. But I've decided to go with the not surprising thing and the most generic option available and put them at 5th, just like every other person you've ever seen had them. And that's what I did. Detroit, I do like their goaltending, though. I do like their goaltending very much so. Especially, I expect Nedeljkovic to do good. Maybe not as good as last year, but for sure not as good as last year, but good. And then the Senators, very young team. Got to get Tkachuk figured out. If what Matthew Tkachuk said is true, they are not close on a contract. Hopefully that's not true, though, because I think we all want to see Tkachuk, not Matthew Tkachuk, but Brady Tkachuk, playing when the season starts. Nothing against Matthew Tkachuk. I like Matthew Tkachuk as well. And then the Canadiens in 5th, they lost Weber. They lost... Who did they lose that center? Kotkaniemi to an offer sheet. Debatably worked out for them because they did get Vancouver got... They got Dvorak from Arizona, who should be a very good second-line center for the Coyotes. And I've heard he's good defensively as well. Just a good all-around forward. Or top 6 forward. Not first line. Second line forward. And Dvorak, I think the Canadiens could do good. Their defense looks a little weak in my opinion. That's the problem. Defense and goaltending is more... Everything... They don't have that thing you say, oh, they have a strong offense, a strong defense, strong goaltending. No. They don't really have a strong category, in my opinion. Like, Carey Price is great and all in the playoffs, but what about the regular season? That took a long time to get through those 4 teams. Moving on to number 4 and 3, we got the Leafs and the Bruins. Leafs at 4, Bruins at 3. Toronto Maple Leafs, maybe a little bit of, I don't want to say depth issues on the forward, but I feel like they're going to need to find I don't know if it was left wing or right wing, but they need to find I think it was left side, a second line left winger, unless Mikheyev or the other guy. Oh, I forget. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But their defense I like, and I do like Campbell and Mrazek. This is just a team with question marks for me, which is what puts them down at 4, and what puts Bruins at 3, because they got Swayman and Ullmark, and I love that tandem. Swayman played amazing last year, and Ullmark has always been a good goalie. Oh, the Buffalo Sabres. Sorry. I believe Ullmark had a winning record on the Buffalo Sabres. Who does that? Nobody does that. Especially on an 18-game losing streak that season. And he was hurt for it. And Hutton was in. And Hutton is trash right now. He's older as well, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry. When I call NHL players trash, listen, they're not trash. They're in the NHL. But they're trash at the NHL level, alright? So don't take it personally. To those of you who like those players. And this is my opinion as well, alright? And the Bruins, though, center hole. They have a hole at center. Yeah, if Bergeron sucks this year, yeah, they're screwed. I would say the F word right now, but no. But yeah, they're screwed if Bergeron's hurt, for sure. Like, who's gonna... Or even if Bergeron, like, declines. Because he's got to eventually, right? I mean, he's 36. Or 37. 36, he's old for a hockey player. He has to eventually... start declining, right? Okay, and now my furnace started. I don't know where I was, but who knew it could be so hard to film a video in the basement? I was talking about the Bruins and how they have a center hole. Yeah, Bergeron, he has to decline eventually, surely. Number 2 and 1, I got Tampa in 2nd place, which means, yes, I do have Florida first in the division. Now, let me explain why, alright? Tampa's lost their entire 3rd line. They're still a very good team. They still have good depth. They still have the best top 6, the best defense, and the best goaltending. Maybe not the best defense, but the best goaltending. Maybe the best. But the best goaltending in the league. Andre Vasilevsky. I don't care about who the backup is. It's Andre goddamn Vasilevsky. It doesn't matter who your backup is when you have Andre Vasilevsky, alright? And then your first, the Panthers, who are in first, have, in my opinion, the greatest forward depth in the entire NHL. Without a doubt. No questions asked. For me, at least. Definitely the best depth in the NHL. And their defense, I do really like Florida's defense. And then I also do really like Florida's goalie, former Vezina winner, who they are overpaying, Sergei Bobrovsky. And then you got Spencer Knight, the rookie. But they are overpaying for Bobrovsky. But he is still an okay goalie. And that contract isn't hurting them right now. Maybe in the future, but not right now. And then last division, the Metropolitan. And you guys are going to think, I got some, this is definitely my boldest one, for sure. Definitely have the most things that some people would look at and be like, that's weird. So starting off at number 8 and 7, I feel like these aren't too horrible of predictions. Maybe a little bit to you guys. 8 is obvious to me again. Columbus Blue Jackets. Could surprise some people this season, but I'm still having them at 8th because I just look at their division and I'm like, I can't see a team being worse than them in their division. Number 7, Philadelphia. Yep, is it a bold prediction to say that the streak is over? Yes, but not because how good the team is, just because how long the streak's been going on that people think it's never going to end. But I do. It's got to end this year. Surely, finally, it has to end for once because it's been going for like 10 years or more. And it has to end. They're goaltending. Carter Hart, even if he bounces back a little bit, let's say he puts up over 900, which I do expect him to do. Martin Jones, why'd you get Martin Jones of all the goalies? You couldn't have gotten Peter Mrazek. You couldn't have gotten who signed in New Jersey. That guy signed in Jersey with Blackwood. I think it was Reimer. All right, you couldn't have gotten these goalies who actually are at least okay. Wouldn't have costed you a lot of money, and you could have signed to short-term contracts. No, they picked up Martin Jones from San Jose, who's put up below a 900 save percentage for the last 3 seasons. Good job, Flyers. I do like what you did with the defense, though. I do like Ellis on the defense. I do like Ristolainen, although you did overpay for Ristolainen. I do like him. Definitely overpaid, though. Forward group, you got Atkinson. I think you guys won that trade. I'm saying you guys like I'm talking to Philadelphia. I don't know why. That's okay. Moving on, number 6. Actually, this might be a bold prediction. Number 6 and 5. So number 6, I have Pittsburgh Penguins. But which means yes. At number 5, I have the New Jersey Devils. Now, the Penguins, the reason that helped me get them to 6, I'm like, at the start of the season, Crosby's going to be out. Malkin's going to be out. So what are they going to do? That's my thought here. And then I'm like, wait a second. Pittsburgh always capitalizes on injuries. For some reason, they always do good no matter how many injuries. Well, not this year because they're missing Crosby and Malkin. And also, I just don't like their goaltending very much. It might be the playoffs that tainted Jari for me, but I just don't like their goaltending very much. And I'm not in love with their defense either, and their forward group to me is just okay. And especially when you're missing Crosby and Malkin at the start of the season, is below average. So I definitely think they could get to a slow start in the start of the season and have a rough season. As for the Devils, I really like what the Devils have done this season with adding Hamilton and adding Tatar, although they did overpay a little bit for Tatar for sure. I do like the additions they've made, as well as Reimer in the net. And I don't know why I'm freezing here, man. My brain is just like dying on me. Come on, back it up. Back together. Here we go. Devils also have their young forwards growing up, like Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Sharon Govich. All these guys should be getting better next season. In number 4, moving on to the teams I have in the playoffs, I have the Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes. Washington has basically stayed the same since last season. Their goaltending's the same. Samsonov should bounce back, though. Their defense is the same, I think, pretty much, and their forwards are the same as well. But they do have a very solid lineup, which is why I have them in 4th. I could definitely see them finishing higher than 4th, though. And for 3rd, I had the Carolina Hurricanes. They have had a pretty bad offseason, I'm not going to lie. But I still feel that their team's very good. Their forward depth is very, very good. I think they have the 2nd best forward depth in the league behind Florida. And their defense, although they lost Hamilton, I think D'Angelo will pretty much cover that quite a bit. That might be a hot take or a bold prediction, but I do think D'Angelo will cover that up quite a bit, like fill in that role very well. And I think their defense is pretty good. And they didn't sign, what's his name? Nedeljkovic. Why didn't they sign Nedeljkovic to that contract? It wasn't even a lot of money. And it was only 2 years, I think, Detroit gave him. And they only got a 3rd. That's just stupid. And then number 2 and number 1. People who live in New York will be very happy with this. Because at number 2 and 1, I have the Islanders and the Rangers. And I might be bold to say the Rangers are 1, but I look at their lineup. I say Lafreniere, I say Panarin, I say Zibanejad, and I say Kako Capo. Chris Kreider. Forward depth. And I like their blue line as well. And then you got Shesterkin, who I think will be maybe even a Vezina-level goalie this season. And they got Georgiev as the backup. This team is very solid. And I'm going to be surprised if they don't make the playoffs this year, personally. Because I think that they should 100% make the playoffs this year. And then to the Islanders, who I have in number 2, they are normally not that great of a regular season team, actually. They're a very, very good playoff team, obviously. But the Islanders, I feel like although they definitely overpaid for Palmieri, I think that their offense is actually pretty good, even with a defensively coached team that Barry Trotz runs, who is definitely, in my opinion, the best coach in the league right now. But now what I've been waiting for is I did work out a playoff bracket for this whole thing. In the first round, I'm not going to list them all at once. Vegas, I'm going to go pretty quick through this. You'd have a rematch between Vegas and Minnesota. I said Vegas. I didn't say the amount of games either. You'd have Edmonton versus Vancouver, which would lead to Edmonton in the second round. Edmonton would play against Vegas, and Vegas would win. So that's the first top 4 team is Vegas. The second side, Dallas versus Colorado. I said Colorado wins. Winnipeg versus St. Louis. I said Winnipeg wins. And then I said Winnipeg beats Colorado to make it to the conference finals. And Colorado gets out in round 2 again. I said Winnipeg, though. Winnipeg makes it to the third round. Like I said, am I hinting or not? I was hinting earlier. It was foreshadowing. If my LA people know what I'm talking about. And then on the right side, on my right side where I wrote this, I got Florida, Toronto. I'm sorry, Toronto fans. I'm so sorry, but I have Florida winning that. Tampa Bay, Boston. Who's not going to pick the Stanley Cup champions to win the first round? Rangers and Washington. Now, although I did have the Rangers first in their division, I have picked Washington to finally win a round after the last couple years. Since they won a cup, I don't think they've won a round. Or at least made it far for sure. But I picked Washington. And then the Islanders and the Hurricanes. I picked the Hurricanes. So, yes, I do have my top 2 teams in the Metro going out in the first round. And one of them is the Islanders. The Islanders, who are an amazing playoff team, I have coming out in the first round. So there's some more bold predictions for you. But hey, weirder things in the hockey in the NHL have happened. Now to the Stanley Cup Finals. Winnipeg versus Vegas. Canadian team in the top 4 again versus Vegas, who was also in the top 4 last year, I believe. Yeah, I have Winnipeg winning that. I'm sorry, Vegas. Now, listen, I do have another Canadian team in the finals, but I really do like Winnipeg's lineup. I really do like their forward depth, defense, and goalie. And then on the other side, you got Florida and Carolina. 2 teams both in the Central last year, I want to say. Florida winning that. So what you know, you got Winnipeg, you got Florida. You got a team who hasn't won the cup before, and you got another team who hasn't won the cup before. What do you know? Well, which team wins their first cup? In X amount of games that I don't have written down. I think that Florida wins the Stanley Cup this season. They'll be crowned your Stanley Cup champions of the 2021-22 NHL season. Did I even say... Oh, I didn't mention the second. I did. Florida beat Tampa, yeah. Yeah, Florida beat Tampa, so you should have figured that out by now. The fact that they won the cup. In my fantasy. In my fantasy, actually, Edmonton wins the cup, but... I just don't see that happening, do I? Nope. Anyway, Florida. Yeah, they're actually my 3rd favorite team. I have 3 favorite teams. Sort of. Maybe more, but 3 top favorite teams. One favorite team. Then 2 favorite teams, if you know what I'm talking about. Edmonton, Buffalo, and Florida. Yeah, it's kind of rough over here. But that's okay. That's okay. As long as you show you're fine. I'm happy Buffalo's my favorite team, because that would suck. I'm sorry, Buffalo favorite fans. Oh, yeah, but thank you for watching if you made it this far. I've been recording for 24 minutes. What the... That's a long video. Well, I went on talking a lot, quite a bit, but hey, thank you for watching. And I'm going to think of an outro for this one. All right. Ah, you thought I left. No, it's not over. So those of you who are still here, comment chicken nugget in the comments and I'll know you're here. Yeah, see ya.